Today I'll be talking about marijuana. The learning objectives for this PowerPoint is to know what drug class marijuana is, know the states that marijuana is legal in, know what the new popular method for using marijuana is similar to. So what is marijuana? Marijuana comes from a hemp plant called Cannabis sativa. It is dried leaves, flowers, stems, and seeds. It contains delta-9 tetrahydrocannabinol, and that's called THC, and it's a mind-altering chemical. Marijuana is the most commonly used illicit drug in the United States, and it's very popular among young people. So how is it used? It can be that has been partially or completely refilled with marijuana, a bong, which is pipes or water pipes, vaporizers, which pulls the active ingredient, which is THC, from the marijuana and collects their vapors in a storage unit, and then this allows the person to inhale the vapor instead of the smoke. Marijuana can also be mixed with brownies, cookies, candies, or it can be brewed as tea. So marijuana extracts, this is the newest way that people are using marijuana, and this method consists of smoking or eating different forms of THC-rich resins. So this way of using marijuana is called dabbing, and some forms that are used this way is hash oil or honey oil, which is a gooey liquid, or wax or butter, which is a soft solid with a texture that's really similar to lip balm, which is a hard amber-colored solid. So using marijuana in this way delivers huge amounts of THC to the user. And people have actually been fluid. So a large amount of people who have prepared extracts from home have caused fires and explosions, which has resulted in serious burns. So short-term effects of using marijuana. When marijuana is smoked, THC passes from the lungs to the bloodstream very quickly. And then from the blood, THC is then carried to the brain as well as other organs in the body. THC stimulates receptors in the brain that normally react to natural THC-like chemicals, and these natural chemicals play a role in normal brain development and function. Be felt 30 minutes to an hour later, and this can be an issue because if someone doesn't understand that the effects will be delayed, then they may ingest more thinking that it isn't working, and then they'll ingest too much. So the parts of the brain that contain the highest amount of these receptors will be overactivated by marijuana, and this is what causes the users to get that high feeling. And so in the picture, if you look at the little yellow spots, that is where the THC is acting in the brain. And then some other effects that are felt with marijuana is altered senses, altered sense of time, changes in mood, impaired body movement, and difficulty with thinking and problem solving. So long-term effects of marijuana, brain development is affected by marijuana. So when someone starts using marijuana at a young age, such as a teenager, their thinking and memory and learning functions may be reduced. So the way that the brain builds connections between thinking, memory, and learning will be impaired. So these abilities can be permanently affected by the use of marijuana. And a study showed that people who started smoking marijuana heavily in their teens and had an ongoing use disorder lost an average of 8 So there's some physical effects, which include breathing problems. So someone who smokes marijuana can have daily cough and phlegm, and they get more frequent lung illnesses, and they also have a high risk for lung infections. You can also get increased heart rate. So the heart rate is raised for up to 3 hours after someone smokes marijuana, so this may increase the chance of a heart attack. And this would also especially be an issue for anyone who suffers from other heart issues, such as palpitations and other things like that. And then there is also problems with child development during and after pregnancy. So if you use marijuana during pregnancy, there are increased risks of brain and behavioral problems with the child. There's also issues with certain developing parts of the fetus's brain, and the child may have problems with attention, memory, and problem solving. Be temporary paranoia, so that's extreme and unreasonable distrust of others, and then you can have worsening symptoms in patients who already have schizophrenia. So, the brain. THC's chemical structure is similar to an anandamide, a chemical endogenous cannabinoid. So both of these chemicals act on cannabinoid receptors, and this is called the endocannabinoid system. And this plays an important role in the nervous system's normal function. And THC affects the hippocampus and the cortex, and these are areas that enable a person to form new memories and shift their attentional focus. And so marijuana causes impaired thinking and a person's ability to learn and perform different tasks. So the brain's reward system, because THC acts on cannabinoid receptors, it also affects the brain's reward system. So along with other drugs of abuse, THC stimulates neurons in the reward system to release dopamine. And then this flood of dopamine is what causes that high feeling that users seek. So marijuana is a Schedule I drug, and some street and slang terms that are used is bud, dope, grass, green, marijuana, Mary Jane, MJ, reefer, etc. And so, is marijuana a gateway drug? Marijuana is linked to addiction of other substances such as nicotine, and it is shown in animal studies that THC makes other drugs more pleasant. Adolescents may make other forms of drug abuse and addiction more likely. Addiction of marijuana. Marijuana can lead to the development of problem use, which is called marijuana use disorder. And this marijuana use disorder can also lead to dependence. And dependence is when the user feels withdrawal symptoms when they're not using the marijuana. And so when they feel this dependence, it occurs. When they feel this dependence, it occurs because the brain adapts to large amounts of the drug by reducing the production and sensitivity of its own endocannabinoid neurotransmitter. And so frequent So the symptoms of withdrawal peak within the first week after someone stops using, and it also lasts for up to 2 weeks. So dependence becomes addiction when the person can't stop using marijuana even though it interferes with their daily life. And 30% of users develop some degree of a problem use disorder, which can lead to dependence or addiction. And people who start using marijuana before the age of 18 are 4 to 7 times more likely than adults to become addicted. So grouchiness, sleepiness, anxiety, craving, decreased appetite, and behavioral support has been shown to be very effective in treating this marijuana addiction. Some medical uses of marijuana include pain associated with cancer, glaucoma. It can help decrease anxiety. It can help control epileptic seizures, multiple sclerosis, and it can also relieve arthritis pain. And states that have legal recreational use are Alaska, Colorado, Oregon, Washington, California, Maine, Nevada, and then also Washington, D.C. And most of these states, there's certain limits on how much they can have on them, such as like an ounce, etc. So there still are regulations, but it is able to be used recreational. And then a lot of states now are allowing marijuana to be used medically, and so there's multiple states listed here, but the newest one is West Virginia. So we also now allow medical use of marijuana. And then here are my references for this presentation. And does